Wow, that was, while we were laughing during the break, one of our editors came in, anaitwa Charles, akakuja tukamuuliza, what is the color of this thing? And then he said red.
Confidently.
He confidently said red. So I'm like, red. So let's put it together with this jacket and see.
It's faded red.
Oh,
it's
faded
bright
red. Bright red. So don't complicate things.
Yeah, sure.
Ladies, don't complicate the communication. Let me put it here. All right, let me put my red stick over here. So we really, really were thinking and asking ourselves, what are the barriers to communication? Because you see, of course, one of them is that complicated communication, yes. Definitely. Because you make it like, I want you to bring, like we were talking about when we were off air, we were talking about blue and all its shades. Yeah. So it's like the wife is calling you, bring me the blue, the royal blue,
the sky blue.
The sky blue, and until my mind becomes blue, everything disappears. So complicated communication. I think that's one of them. What really are some of these barriers?
Okay. Moses, I'll talk about maybe two and dwell on one.
Yeah.
I think one is openness and truth without love, where you put barriers, you put walls. I can tell you, maybe the kind of food you cook is not the best, but the way I tell you may show love or may show. Actually, the Bible upholds us to talk and to communicate with love, and that our speech should be salted. So even in
seasoned
with salt. So even in our marriages, in our communication, man to man, man to spouse, man to children, let it be with love. Let it be clothed with love. Let us also be open and honest to each other.
I think maybe you need to define this clothing with love, because somebody will be asking out there that, what do you mean clothing my speech with love? That's how we talk. Mimi, like, and no offense, like, mimi ni Meru, let me say Meru. Well, later hiyo kitu, that kind of communication. Like I and my wife, I know in their home, I'm from a different culture.
Yes.
She's from a different one. It's a cross-culture marriage. In their home, they speak loudly. And mwanzo nilikuanga na very hard time trying to understand whether this is with love or that's how she speaks. Until now, it's like she's toning down to mine, I'm lifting mine up to hers.
So truth with love is, there are things that are hard to communicate, especially behavioral changes and things that are very core to someone. But it's the how you do it.
Yes.
You do it with an end result of wanting to bring that person up, as you're saying, and not putting them down. You do it with at the best time, best language, best speech, and you start with positive. I like the way you're dedicated to cook. But that food, if you added a little bit more of salt, it's not always the other side of it's too salty. If you added a bit, maybe it would. Can we try it with you tomorrow, Rama? All those things. So the feedback that you will get with love. There's also the other one, open and honest.
Before you go into that open and honest, I'm talking about why is it difficult to communicate behavioral changes?
It's because of something I had mentioned, and we said we'll get back to it.
Okay.
Some of the behavioral changes, they are very deeply entrenched in someone because of even the way that person has been encultured. So you've met 25 years later, someone has been in a totally different culture, as you're saying. There's a behavior that they picked up for the last, maybe encultured in them, or the way they were cultured.
Ever since they were born.
So you're telling this person, by there, for this marriage to work, or for the sake of our children, you need to change this. It's very hard. And sometimes the other reason it's hard to change behavior is because I feel that this is the best thing to do it. I also have my virtues and my values and the way my perspective of things. And so you're trying to say, this is not the right way, this is the right way. And sometimes you might just have to meet at the middle, a win-win for both of you, because some behavioral changes are almost impossible. They are totally entrenched. So sometimes, as you're saying, you might be the one ending up to do a bit of changing, even in the way you communicate.
Is
and
it
the other
some
person-
sort of compromise?
Exactly.
You reach a compromise.
Exactly.
Like you feel kama wewe ulikuwa ukipika chakula ukiwa kijana, unaipika vizuri, kama ni viazi unaipika kando, unaweka you know where I'm going with that. Unaweka kando. Alafu sasa hapa
Hujasema na supu unaweka kando.
na supu unaweka kando. Alafu sasa hapa wewe ushaoa, umekuja first day in your house, all the food have to be baptized.
Waru,
kila kitu pamoja.
And covered in water.
And then covered, bathed in water,
baptized by immersion.
Baptism by immersion. Lazima, for the first few days, kula baptism by immersions. Uende ukizoea, ukijiondoa pole pole, na ukimwambia. And again, pia you can train them. Kama ni issue ya cooking dinner, you know, something you communicate. I think that communication with love is very important. And sometimes even you try it out yourself. You get into the kitchen. Men can cook. Get into the kitchen. You know, this is how I would wish it's done. And probably you don't even need to speak. One day you cook yours, they taste.
We say communication is both verbal and non-verbal.
Verbal and non-verbal.
Yeah, so even that is communication.
Yes.
As you get in there and cook, that is communication.
Because there's some things probably, like when my wife was learning how to drive, she used to fear so much. And after a few driving with her around, I would now go with her kwa barabara. I would not tell her what to do or what not to do. She would see me doing stuff. I didn't know I was really communicating. She would see me doing stuff. She would see me overlapping. She would see me like the way I was overtaking, how I was using indicators and all those kinds of things. One day I was behind her and she was in another vehicle in front of us and she was driving. And I saw the way she was driving. I saw myself. And funny enough, when we met, I asked her. She was now with, she was carrying my reverend. Then I asked her, really, make sure when you're going home, don't drive like a safari rally. Then she told me, you're the one who taught me.
Communication.
Like, when did I teach?
When
did I teach? Well, we want to ask people out there. Actually, you guys just listen to what these people are going to say, because we asked them. Tukawauliza, do you think when your wife communicates to you and your husband communicates to you, he gives you full attention? Yeye kupatia full attention. And what really makes him not to give full attention? Communication barriers. This is what we asked outside there. Let's hear what people said.
Wanaume huwa wanapeana full attention kwa ladies kweli?
Percent kidogo sana.
Hawapeanangi full attention. Wanaokopanga, yani kuna kitu labda amefanya na hapo, anataka anashindwa, kwani uliambiwa na mtu. Sasa kwanza ni lazima ajipe shughuli, hawezi peana full attention.
Hawezi kupea juu kichwa yake imemwambia, na akileo anajua yeye ni boy child na yeye ndio kiongozi. Hauwezi mdictate, unamdictate ukimwambia nini, lazima ushukashuke.
Na sometimes sana huwa wanaepuka responsibilities. Inategemea mnaongea kuhusu nini. Kwa mnaongea maneno maybe inahusu kutoa kwa nyumba ama mambo kama hizo, zingine huwa anaepuka, na zingine anashindwa kujiexplain. Alafu mwanaume huwa na maneno chache. Unaweza muuliza maswali 10 ya kujibu word moja.
Watakupea, wanaendanga na hapo hivyo wanajirudia, na ule fulani alikuwa anasema ukweli, lakini hata kuonesha hawezi kuonesha. Akiwa hapo yeye ndio kichwa juu ya ile ego ya mwanaume, na wewe unampea point yenye iko. Unajua sisi tuko na sentences 6, wao kana 5.
Saa zingine anaweza kuwa anafikiria vitu zake na umuulize asikujibu.
Labda akuamini, amekuwa lakini hajakuamini, ako na mpango.
Huyo mtu ni kama hajakuamini vile, naona, so hawezi kupea details zake zote.
That's what people said, and I'm glad you stayed in and listened. And I hope we are learning from actually what these people are saying outside there, because you see, barriers of communication, there are so many.
Exactly.
And some can even be health issues. You might think your husband masikio inafanya kazi na kumbe hata ifanyi kazi.
Lazima ushout.
Lazima ushout, labda akiwa kazini yeye ni ule wanaitwa nini, wadere wanganya ama donda. So unajua donda amezoea mziki very loud. Wewe uko kwa nyumba unataka kumwongelesha na sauti kidogo, atasikia aje? So what are some of these barriers of communication? I think we have already touched some of them.
So the other one, Moses, is the past issues. The past issues you've had.
Yes.
Maybe you've been through an extremely abusive person who even does verbal abuses, uses some words in your past, or maybe it's again what we were saying, the way you have been encultured in your family, or maybe things that were said to you, and so after in the kind of setup that you are in, your boss or your spouse, when they touch on something, as I had mentioned, it goes in there and looks for that car wire that is still naked and touches it
and
connects with it. And then now the way you respond, people wonder why you respond like that. So people will say something and it will connect with it, and then you will always have a certain response.
I love the way you are explaining it, because I'm really seeing it scientifically. Like there is something that was said when you were young to you, and it's stuck in your head. And I think this even happens to young guys when you are maybe going to propose. Exactly. And then a lady says something to you, and then it connects with something that another lady said to you.
You're a loser.
You're a loser. And then you are broken. You're broken. And I think, like, for instance, when I was young, I think I was telling you off there, people used to say slow.
Yeah.
And then it sank in my head until they came up with some kind of names. And it really disturbed me for a while, because if somebody comes and talks about slow and aiweke in a very serious way, inaenda ina search ile slow iko na wapi hapo ka subconscious, ina connect with that.
So the way you decode slow now,
decode slow is different.
It's different.
It's different from the way actually that person meant
exactly.
it. And it needs some growing up.
It needs some growing up, but it also needs what I would say is a solution to it. And this is a solution in very many issues in marriage.
In marriage, yeah.
Living, biblically, living and cleaving.
Living and cleaving.
When
Solution,
yeah. When God has given you a spouse, when God has given you children, you need to leave your past failures, your past hurts, your past things archives, and be ready to receive this gift that God has given you as a new gift. And sometimes, because if your wife says slow now, something in that, she was not in your school.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something she has noticed, but the way you decode it might be totally different. But you need to take it, if it's said in love, as we had said, that maybe there's something that I need to up my game. Maybe there's something. Do not connect the two. Let it be totally different discussion without the same way we say that our spouses, or they will remind you of your past failures 10 years down the line. Unakumbuka ile siku uliniambia nini, you know the way they connect.
Ile siku chumvi haikuwa kwa chakula. Ilikuwa imeisha.
Unakumbuka hiyo. So we keep on complaining, men, that we don't want to be reminded. But in the same way, we also need to have a clean slate and a clean plate when we are having communication, so that we are able to
say that again.
We need to have a clean, I say slate and plate when you're communicating, so that we give them also the benefit of doubt that whatever they are saying, it's out of love, it's out of they want to see growth in us and in our relationships and in our marriage. So they are not picking those old files and archives. And the same way we don't want to be reminded of our past failures. Let's also not use our past failures and our past experiences to decode in a way that is not proper.
But you see, at times, this sometimes goes beyond personal control. From what I'm saying is that somebody probably might have gone through, like you said, an abusive past. Probably the parents were so abusive. They called them names and all those sorts of, some people were called even names of animals. And now when you come to communication, if somebody probably mentions and maybe it's out of labda ni kejeli, anakuambia au katabia kanaka kama kapusi, yani ni kama kejeli, the way people laugh, and then the laughter all of a sudden changes to something else, because you've connected that particular word to something that is in your subconscious, and then ukaidecode the way you decoded it in the past. Therefore, living and cleaving is not just a matter of living. From what I'm getting from you, is a matter of leaving everything, including the old files. You burn them down and come with a clean slate. And a plate. I love that.
and again, you see, when you are in a marriage, you want the best out of it. So, and communication is a skill. It's a skill. Listening is a skill. And we have mentors, we have counselors, we have coaches that can actually, even online, you can actually be able to do communication skills courses. If you're trained in the corporate world, you can also do it for your marriage. You can intentionally be a good listener. Look for feedback, all those things, and don't just wait for feedback to be given. Also, you give feedback in communication, like I did not understand. What did you mean? Before you fully decode, you've told me inakaa ya paka. Unamaanisha nini? So before now you retrieve that file, over and over you will get, because it's a skill that you have developed, you are not affected by those pasts because you've been able to decode in a different way.
So you want to decode it with the current context.
Exactly.
You don't want to decode it with the past context.
Exactly.
So when it is said, so in a way, sometimes you also need to like voice it back, and so that your partner can kind of confirm whether what you said is what I got.
In communication, we actually say bouncing it back.
Bouncing
so
it
you
back.
say ninakaa paka. Okay. Sijasema hivyo. You know.
Then you clear the air.
Then you clear the air. So with that, maybe it might come out as a joke, but your partner will also be very sensitive that paka is a no-go. Let's deal with rabbits.
After all, pia rabbit iko na fur. Just like so if I want an example, I would go the rabbit way.
The last one I would want to comment on is let's be open and honest in communication. Openness and honesty builds communication. When I'm open, do not sweep things under the carpet. Be open. With love, be honest. Do not hide because these are what brings barriers and walls in communication. If I realize my partner is not honest, if I realize my partner is not open, maybe I might also get to that where I'll be saying I'm broke. I'm broke. You're not saying by there I'm having financial issues. This is my budget. It's not working. Be open. Be honest. So I know that I have touched even finances and all that, but in entirety, when you talk about communication, especially in a family and men, and this is a thing with men, men, I'm sure when we've handled health issues, men stress, depression, because they're not open. They're not talking it out. Communication, you have to talk it out. So do not just be a listener and say, sawa. Also, give feedback.
Because that sour really could be really loaded. It's loaded with a lot of things that your partner ought to know. Men, we have issues. You, me, men, we have issues. And we cannot be able to exhaust all this communication. I just want to ask you, men, hapo kwa comment, and in our number 0705898890, I'm asking this question, and I want to hear honest opinion. Men, when did you think you did not communicate? when it hit you that whatever you said did not pass na ikueleweka jinsi ulivyo tarajia ieleweke. When was that? So I want to hear those comments coming down on our social media handles. It's just Atushirika TV, everything Atushirika TV. And those watching us online, actually, let's hear it right now. Wakati gani, wakati upi ulidhani umeongea, umecommunicate, lakini haikufanyika. We want to hear this from you. Number to text is 0705898890. We are also on WhatsApp. And share this with your friend. Probably this is going to help all your men friends outside there. We have come to the end of this show.
Wow.
Pastor, probably your closing remark.
Thank you. I think man is a communicating being.
Communicating being.
You cannot pull out communication from a man,
Yeah.
whether we are talking about the gender or man as in terms of humankind.
Yes.
So let's up the skill. Let's
Yeah.
know that we need to talk it out. Let's voice it out. Let's listen. Let's build it as a skill.
Yeah.
And practice it. And I'm sure that we'll be better communicators in our families. Yeah.
And mine is quite simple. My parting shot is do not bring the archives into your current communication. Decode it here and now, not there and then.
Then.
Until next time, it's been Mansbrook with me, your host Moses Ochieng. It's bye-bye for now.